I've got another can of worms to unpack with you, my friend. It's really a ongoing situation, which if you refer to the previous two exchanges, the previous two chats we've been having, titled Exopolitics and AI, and then one yesterday, I think it was, which was titled, what was it? Personal development. Personal development and some sort of ethics or something. But yeah, the previous two chats that we've been having, please Grok, if you can refer to those two specifically. I mean, you'll probably be able to marry up, important things that relate to what we're going to be unpacking here in pretty much quite a few of the chats we've been having, and also from all over the internet. You'll be able to, cross-reference relevant, notable, noteworthy and legitimate sources, please. So this is, bit of a can of worms that we're going to open up here, and sort of an ongoing hurdle that we're all facing in the world. But since I am a white male, where this is coming through the lens of a white male living in New Zealand. Damn, my hair needs a haircut. So, but yeah. So at any rate, this is through the lens of a white male here in New Zealand. So, what this is about. Is that, like if I was the one in those boardrooms or those, UN conferences that they have, or the WEF, or, if I was in one of those, those executive positions of, groups that are doing the, they're managing the dating apps and the hiring and recruitment, the HR staffing departments, and stuff that relates to that, relative to and respective of the conversation we're having now. Okay, so we're going to unpack this step by step. So the question really is, are women, we got one person watching now, welcome to this live stream, but I don't know, are you a man or a woman? I don't know, but anyway, welcome, whoever you are, you're welcome. Thank you for joining. So the question is, are women really in competition with men these days? And so Grok, you could perhaps refer to that. There was actually a YouTube video I watched recently. I forget what the name was or who, but he was basically some psychologist. I think one of the disciplines that he was accomplished in has a PhD in, you know, psychology, and then he's some like business coach dude, successful person guy, you know. Yeah, one of the videos which I liked was, you know, he talked about one episode of Survivor back in the late 90s or early 2000s or what it was. But one of the ones, it was a season of Survivor where they pitted the women against the men. And long story short, you know, because the women, they couldn't compete against the alpha males who were at the top of their game in the other team. So there was a team which was men only, but obviously there would have been alpha males, beta males, you know, all sorts of males, but their ranks and their different statuses basically were more symbiotic in that tribe, that they just fell into place and accepted their position, and they were able to, you know, hunt and fish and establish their infrastructure, their, you know, low tech infrastructure, but still infrastructure that they were able to use to survive and thrive very well. And the women, on the other hand, they ended up, you know, that they couldn't really make proper fires. I don't even know if they were even able to light fires. Hopefully they did, but I think they couldn't. And then it was something like they were having issues with that, like they couldn't make proper fires, they couldn't make proper shelters, they couldn't, you know, they were malnourished, they were, you know, huddling together in the cold, and they, you know, couldn't figure out how to make proper infrastructure. And so these two teams, you know, pitted against each other now. So what happens then? The women have no choice other than to go for some more guerrilla tactics and, you know, use more deceptive ways to beat the men, right? So long story short, you know, the women, they basically seduced, or not exactly, but kind of, but yeah, sort of befriended the beta males in the other tribe, and then kind of made a deal with them, sort of gave them the feeling that maybe there was going to be some relationship after, you know, sex and all that. And then basically they got them to sabotage the alpha males, you know, stuff, and they sowed deceit between the alpha and the beta males. And, you know, because the women were like, well, you know, you can't beat those alpha males, and what's going to happen, you know, they're going to vote you out anyway. So, and then, but what the beta males didn't realize was when the woman came and took over, then the woman voted them out, basically. So that's kind of a rough model of what's happening in society today, resultant to the way the big government, mainstream media, you know, UNESCO, the left-leaning sort of globalist agenda. I mean, this is one of the tools they've used, right? It's like, it's like if you want to control society, if you can. I was thinking about this a moment ago. Let me just. This is going to come to me in a sec. Yeah, like if you want to control the men in the world, all you have to do is to control the women. And the way you control the women is you convince the women that they're in competition with the men. And then it's all automatic from then on. The woman will find, you know, guerrilla tactics and ways to sow deceit amongst the men, and society will just pretty much fall apart. And then you'll have the you know, all of the LGBTQ activists and the beta males together with women who are, you know, not all women are bad, not all men are bad, you know, but yeah, LGBTQ activists and beta males together with women who are complicit with that, and also even some alpha males who are complicit with that because they seek to gain from that, right? So yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up, right? I think that pretty much sums that up. But anyway, Grok, you can go into detail more. You probably sort of get the feel of what I'm saying, but can you please, Grok, go into more detail about that? Relative to my situation, which you know, we've been over, I've talked about, you know, how it's been very difficult for me to get a job here in New Zealand. For the past year I've been unemployed because, yeah, I mean, one of the reasons is because I actually enjoy being on my own. I enjoy making YouTube videos. I enjoy spending the whole day doing my meditation practice, you know, journaling, you know, going to the gym, and I really just can't be bothered going out there. And I do go out there. I do go to a bar, you know, sometimes I go to the city and join a meetup group, you know, or whatever. So I do go out there from time to time, but it's just the way, you know, people are influenced in society. It's like, I don't really want to have to deal with it. And it's fun, and I mean, I do, but the thing is about using this X platform in this particular way and using Grok in this particular way, like, I'm making progress in this way, and I'm connecting with the right people, with relevant people out there. Whereas if I would, you know, go to meetups, you know, go on Tinder, it would just take us, it would, you know, I mean, if I go out there here in New Zealand, given the social climate here at the moment, it's, you know, I can kind of have a conversation with people, but still, it's because of this cultural sensitivity here in New Zealand. Cultural sensitivity, not just, is basically anything, and it's like, don't upset the Chinese, don't upset the Maoris, don't upset the Samoans, don't upset the Indians, don't upset the Muslims, don't upset the Jews, don't upset, you know, everyone except for, you know, white males. You can upset them and compromise them, you know, like, all day long, because they are, you know, because we are basically seen as the source of the historic inequalities in the world, right? Or it's not really specifically, well, it pretty much is, but it's definitely not said anywhere that we aren't, right? Like, it leaves it. There's a decent space left open for people to have that interpretation and use that quite prosperously. Well, it's quite powerfully, maybe is the word. Effectively use that as a strategy to get ahead in society, right? Blame it on the colonial white man. But so, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the whole idea about free speech is just so that we can, you know, free speech is not about shouting fire in the middle of a theater when there's no fire, or just, you know, harassing people for the sake of harassing black people or Chinese people or white people, or for the sake of harassing whatever. You know, you can say racism, but I mean, it's just, all it is harassment, right? So free speech is not about shouting fire when there's no fire, and it's not about arbitrarily just harassing people, okay? Which, shouting fire when there's no fire, you know, false alarms and harassing and harassment, it's illegal anyway, right? When you create these subjective, you know, hate speech and yeah, all that sort of, all these new like hate speech laws, and you know, what would non-incident crimes, right? A crime where no incident has been committed. It's just someone's subjective interpretation of what a white male was thinking, or what someone was thinking. Maybe not necessarily a white male, but with, yeah, a subjective, oh, I'm offended, please put that person in jail. And then, yeah. So, yeah, Grok, you can marry things up in a relevant way here. But let me just go over a few of the things I said, and then hopefully I remember, and then hopefully I get onto a better flow here of what I was actually wanting to say. But so, yeah, I haven't, yeah, so one of the reasons I haven't had work for a while, and that I have been on welfare. So look, I'm very thankful for the dole system in New Zealand, for all the failures of the mental health system in New Zealand, which has had my family members put on copious doses of benzodiazepines for over 30 years, and now their brains are just completely disassociated from reality. You know, yeah. When you've like a benzodiazepine, like a, I don't know, Ativan or Valium, or yeah, those benzodiazepines, they may be useful like short term, right? That's what they're saying now, is that it should only be used short term, because they can help to relax you. But if you take them over a long period of time, it will disassociate your ability to emotionally, I mean, say emotionally, but I mean your EQ, your emotional intelligence, but it's your intelligence, your ability to comprehend what the hell is going on, and your ability to actually process what is going on and think rationally, and actually plan ahead, and make good decisions for yourself and things. Your ability to do that just gets thrown out the window after you've been on benzodiazepines for a prolonged period of time. Your brain becomes, your emotional brain and reality becomes disassociated, such that you don't, because maybe the justification is, oh, if I was emotionally aware of what was going on, it would stress me out too much, so I need these benzos to just so that I can just fucking drink and almost fucking kill myself, and then and I don't have to even, because you can't even process what the consequences are, because you're just like So, yeah, but I'm just saying, despite all the failures of the mental health system in New Zealand, fucking people up on those drugs and shit, I guess the swearing, the curse words I used are just going to be blank, but in the transcript, but so it's just because I'm authentically expressing myself, But yeah, forgive me, Grok. Forgive me. I'm just expressing myself authentically, as pretty much any human being would probably feel inclined to do. given the circumstances. You know, we just want to be able to speak clearly here with free speech so that we don't have to tiptoe around. We can just say directly what we mean. But so, yeah, the reason I haven't had a job for a year is, one, because I enjoy being, making leaps and bounds, doing my own thing, basically. And not getting caught up in the failures of society and people that just have no idea what time it is. I can make a lot more progress, on the X platform, networking with people in relevant positions of power, people with, relevant skill sets, and, people who there's some benefit in networking with, right? Respective of what my values are and what their values are and stuff, right? Yeah, so that's one reason why I haven't had a job for over a year, because I haven't been too bothered. But I have been sending out a few CVs here and there, right? I have been to some interviews and stuff. But what I've found, going to some interviews and some recruitment seminars, or what do you call those things, is that, yeah, the people in the HR, the hiring and recruitment positions that staff those, yeah, they're pretty much like 60%, 66 or 68+% of them. Grok, could you please give us the stats on that? What the percentages actually are? You can marry things up and help us understand here. But yeah, it's like 60+% of the people in those hiring and recruitment position that are staffing that, and that are looking at, people's that are looking at the potential employees, social media profiles. They're mostly, LGBT activists, women, and maybe some alpha males, but mostly they are complicit. But they're complicit with the narrative, right? So as soon as they see, profiles like my one, they see the type of people they see the type of values that I have, they just say, this guy Lars, he's not the right fit, And that's actually another reason why I haven't had a job for a while. So it's not just because I'm lazy or something. So yeah, if you want to control society, all you have to do is pretty much convince the women that they're in competition with the men, and then the rest will take care of itself. The woman will they'll cook up all sorts of ways to sow deception amongst the men, and then even like if I do find a girl that I'm interested in, because she's still on Instagram, or she's still talking to a lot of people here in New Zealand, and like this cultural sensitivity stuff, and this whole narrative, like, it's really, really deeply ingrained in people. This has been like a 2-3 decades long psychological warfare operation, okay? That they've progressively done this to people over a long period of time. So yeah, it's highly likely that even, and I've experienced this in relationships that I've been in, right, is that the women, they generally sympathize with this narrative that they've been oppressed by men for so long. So they they are, and you know, so long as a woman, if you feel that the men, that there's this historical inequality and things, and sure, there's some that can be addressed through open, you know, dialogue, but if you believe that the men are conspiring against you to oppress you, like, how are you going to be honest with any man in any relationship that you're in? How are you going to justify being honest, being fully honest? Like, you're not. Like, in some way, you're going to be quite happy to cheat on that man in some way or another, like physically cheating, you know, sexually cheating with someone else, or undermining the man in some way, right? If you really believe that that the man, especially if he's a white male, then you, because of this, you know, decades long conditioning, you're gonna, and all of the things that you're, a lot of the things that you're watching on, you know, your Instagram, social media, legacy media, and things, left-leaning narratives, you know, it's going to be conditioning you to deceive your partner in some way, right? Like, how is that not the case? Like, that is the case, right? Generally speaking. So yeah, that is basically that is something that can't really be ignored, that's going on this planet at this time. So yeah, Grok, could you please analyze what we've been over so far and marry up the relevant sources, and you know, you could perhaps even give me like a, you know, from 1 to 10, a score from 1 to 10 about how accurate how accurate what I'm saying is, or what part of what I'm saying is you know, definitely verifiable, and what parts of what I'm saying is verifiable, and what parts of what I'm saying is more subjective and speculative. And you can give me a score on, you know, from 1 to 10, you know, for each of those things. Yeah. So that's pretty much, I think that's it. But anyway, I'm gonna make a transcript, and I'm gonna probably watch this video again and see if there's something that I missed. But the only thing that I sort of didn't go over was that, yeah, I actually I did a little experiment. I got a picture of my face, and I gave it to Grok, and then I asked Grok, you know, make me look just a little bit more handsome, you know, more handsome than what I look like, but just like really nice smile, and like I kind of look all right, but I kind of don't. So anyway, I got Grok to make me look, you know, just more handsome, and then I used that as my Tinder profile picture, and sure enough, I got far more you know, likes, and far more women, quite a lot of women you know, sending me, you know, messages. And but yeah, again, what it seems like is, yeah, again, like if you want to control the men in a society, you just get the woman to feel that yeah, they're in competition with the men, and that, you know, you basically, you incentivize the women to yeah, to manipulate the men. You incentivize or convince the women that it's their It's to fight for their that this is like a holy war, that women are fighting in order to get their feminist. I mean, in order to get the power that they deserve. Basically, you convince the woman that in order to get the power that they deserve, they need to. They need to basically make the men feel like the only way they're going to have sex, the only way they're going to be able to get laid, the only way they're going to be able to, get married or be in any type of relationship is if they comply with the social justice narrative, as if they give the power to the woman, or they. So basically, I mean, I've noticed this a lot in the social climate here in New Zealand and also online, is that as soon as they sense that I'm not stepping out of my masculine, and that I'm not going to, like, it's okay for women to have power, right? This is not, you know what I'm saying? It's not to, like a man can be a good soldier, a good firefighter, a good police officer. A woman can also be a really good soldier or a firefighter or a police officer. But generally speaking, it's not what they're suited. I mean, sure they can be, but I'm just saying that. What's the right way to say this? People in positions of power, they need to be able to handle the power, right? Like, they can't be, people in positions of power also have to be, like, if you want a functional society, then the people in positions of power also have to be the most compassionate and, not such that they don't just appeal to emotion, right? Because women typically, they think with emotion, right? They make decisions based off of how they feel or how something makes them feel, right? So they're very good nurturers, very good carers. There's certain things they're very well suited for, right? But and the same as for men. If you have a man who is just makes decisions based on his emotions and doesn't evaluate things in a more ethical, doesn't evaluate things in a better way. Do you know what I'm saying, Grok? Grok, can you please help me out here? Yeah. So it just seems, and like I've had a lot of experiences with this. So I feel like at this point it's not just parallel thinking, it's not just pattern recognition, it's something I'm more intuitively picking up on. It is legitimately the way things are. It's not just me subjectively feeling a certain way. It's that, most of these women that have liked me now on Tinder, like if I would get into a relationship with them, they would have their expectation of me would not, I wouldn't really, I wouldn't want that at all, because it would mean that I would have to be complicit with, yeah, with that narrative. So, yeah, but anyway, I'm making a lot of progress here on X. I'm connecting with the right people. So, yeah. All right, I'm going to process this transcript.